Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, and today we are on the workbench. I've got the XV02 RS Pro, which performed very well at Bedford, but then I've also got this. This is the TT01 Iconic Cup spec car, and I have had probably the worst crash ever with a TT01, and in terms of damage done, it's actually broken the chassis where this attaches. I've obviously snapped the upper arm, I've lost the dog bone, and yeah, it wasn't great. So I'm going to get this fixed up. We can have a look, but before we do that, let's find out exactly how I managed to break my beautiful BT's TT01. Okay, so I am back at Leighton Buzzard, the first proper track that I ever raced on. And you know what? It's really refreshing to see that they are they're pushing the boundaries with their track designs at the moment. This has got to be one of the tightest tracks I've ever run at Leighton Buzzard. I'm really looking forward to it. The main class here at the moment is the MTCs, and I'm running Tamiyas today, so I think this little section here is going to be the making or the breaking of me. That is a super tight section, but the rest of the track flows really nicely. We're just finishing it up now, and then it's time to get out on the track. Mark is threatening to come and join me here next week, so hopefully I can get this car set up. As I say, this car has been sat in the garage for 2 years because I haven't run this since the Iconic Cup over 2 years ago, because last year I was running the M chassis class, so I was running my MO3 and MO5, so therefore this car, literally, you can see how scratched up it is. This is my outdoor Iconic Cup car. Went out for about 5 minutes. The motor's still cold because you really can't do much around this track, so it's going to be interesting to see how this car performs. So on to the final, and I actually qualified second, and Scott in the white car qualified first with his TT02. He was definitely the quicker car on the day. Unfortunately for both of us, we had an absolute shocker on the first lap, which allowed Connor to disappear off up the track, and then myself and Scott were holding each other up, but at the same time having a cracking battle. As I say, he was definitely the quicker car. Because this is the final, I was in the lead, therefore I was just holding position, really trying to defend that inside line because he had the speed on me on the straight. What I couldn't afford to do is allow him a space up the inside to take a dive bomb. So I was therefore going a little bit tight on the turns, which meant I was actually on a slower line, whereas what I'd like to do is take wider, smoother lines which are faster but leaves the door open on the inside. So it was a good battle. It was a proper game of chess for the pair of us, and it went on for lap after lap after lap. Now we're down to the last sort of 30 seconds of the lap. We're catching up with Connor, and this is where the damage was done. So I went a little bit wide on this corner, and that's it. The car was broken. So what actually happened is the guttering on the outside of the track had been shifted, so I basically, my rear wheel hooked up on a bit of gutter, and it just basically ripped the back of the car out, and that is where the damage was done. So it was actually a really small crash, and it means I need to do a complete rebuild. So anyway, let's get this car rebuilt. Okay, so we've got the lid off the TT01, and let's take a look at what needs to be done. So this part here has been ripped out, and you can see the broken plastic where these insert means I have to actually change the whole of the tub chassis. That's just one part there that needs changing. And then we've got the upper arm where I have bent that, so I'm going to have to replace one of those. Again, not an issue. Need to source a dog bone because I've lost a dog bone. And the issue that I've got is to change the chassis, you need to literally rebuild the whole car. So here we have a brand new chassis. So they're little holes that they need to go in. So I need to now convert everything on there across to here. Okay, so I've undone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 down here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws, and that means this whole top section now comes off. Okay, so next up we took out 2 screws, which are these 2 here. They're actually still, so we take out these 2 screws. I've left them in situ, and then these 2 screws that go into the base, and then the whole rear section actually comes off the car. So hopefully it's gonna be nice and simple for me to just take this diff out and put it into the chassis underneath. So fortunately I have got a spare part to replace this broken one. So I've now shifted the electrics across now to do the front end. I may have done it in the wrong order, but do you know what? I just need to get this back together. Next, I've put the central drive shaft or prop shaft in, and now I'm going to be putting the front in. So, choices for this are, I'm thinking I'll undo the 2 screws at the bottom here, the 3 screws here, in fact I think it's 2 screws, should all lift up. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to disconnect these turnbuckles. I'm going to lift this entire front section off. I'll put the Ackermans separately across onto this chassis, and then it should just be a couple of screws to put it back together. Okay, so front end's now on, and obviously this I took off earlier and I kept it all in one piece with all the screws in situ, so that should now just slot back in, and I'll just line it up and screw it back down. And that is the chassis replaced.